The air crackled with anticipation, a palpable tension that seemed to electrify the very atmosphere. Fear hung heavy, a suffocating blanket over Seoul, wrapping around every corner and alleyway, making it hard to breathe. Above, the monstrous form of Mayhab, the harbinger of pestilence, blotted out the sun, casting a shadow that seemed to drain the city of hope. Citizens, armed with whatever they could scavenge, lined the ravaged streets. They held makeshift weapons, from kitchen knives to broken pipes, anything that could serve as a tool of resistance. Their faces, etched with terror, held a glimmer of defiance. They would fight. They had no choice but to stand their ground for their homes, for their loved ones. They would defend their city, no matter the cost. The spirit of Seoul was unyielding, a beacon of resilience in the face of overwhelming odds. Arrows rained towards the monstrous god, a futile gesture, yet a testament to their unbreakable will. Mayhab, a grotesque parody of a human, swatted them aside with ease as if they were mere insects. His laughter, a guttural roar, shook the very foundations of the city. It was a sound that reverberated through the streets, a chilling reminder of their dire situation.
This was no time for fear. Fear would only paralyze them, make them easy prey. This was a time for courage. Courage to face the unknown, to stand against the darkness.
Do-hyuk, eyes cold and calculating, surveyed the scene. He was a pillar of strength amidst the chaos, his presence a source of hope. He barked orders, his voice a beacon amidst the chaos. His commands were clear and decisive, cutting through the noise and confusion, guiding the citizens in their desperate stand. Mayhab descended, his shadow engulfing the city. The air grew thick with dread as the citizens looked up, their hearts pounding in their chests. The once bustling streets fell silent, a collective gasp escaping the lips of those who witnessed the dark figure's approach. He slammed into the makeshift barricade, a wall of steel and concrete. It crumbled under his immense power, debris scattering like leaves in a storm. The defenders' last hope of a barrier lay in ruins, their faces painted with despair.
Grab him! The command echoed through the chaos, a desperate plea for action amidst the overwhelming force.
Do-hyuk reacted instantly. His mind raced, calculating every possible move in the blink of an eye. He grabbed a soldier, flinging him into the air with a strength that defied human limits. The soldier's body arced through the sky, a desperate gambit in a game of survival. The unfortunate man, a look of terror etched on his face, became a projectile. His scream pierced the air, a haunting sound that echoed the fear of all who watched. A human shield against a god. Do-hyuk's strategy was brutal yet necessary.
Ha! The soldiers' determination was palpable, their resolve hardening in the face of insurmountable odds.
Mayhab roared in amusement. His laughter was a chilling reminder of his power, reverberating through the shattered city. He swatted the man aside, sending him flying like a rag doll. The soldier's body hit the ground with a sickening thud, a testament to Mayhab's unyielding strength. The message was clear. He could not be stopped. He was death incarnate, a force of nature that no mortal could hope to challenge. But Do-hyuk had bought precious seconds. Seconds that could mean the difference between life and death. Time enough for his people to regroup, to steel their nerves. They would fight, they had to. In the face of annihilation, their courage was their only weapon. They had to stand together, for their city, for their lives. From the gaping wound in the city's defenses, creatures swarmed, twisted mockeries of animals, their flesh rotting, their eyes burning with unholy light. Mayhab's vanguard, the citizens, their blood running cold, opened fire. Energy beams scythed through the air, tearing into the oncoming horde. The creatures fell, their bodies dissolving into puddles of noxious sludge. But for every one that fell, two more took its place. The sheer number of the enemy was overwhelming. Despair threatened to consume them. A flash of silver. Blas materialized on the wall, a grim reaper in a tailored suit. In his hands, silver stakes pulsed with an eerie light. He moved with a speed that defied comprehension.
Each stake found its mark.
The creatures shrieked, their bodies dissolving into dust. Blas was a whirlwind of death, cutting a swathe through the enemy ranks. Beside him, Yuri moved with equal grace.
Her whip, a blur of crimson, lashed out. Each strike tore through flesh and bone, sending creatures flying.
Yuri spun, her whip cracking like thunder. It wrapped around a creature's neck, yanking it into the path of an energy beam. The creature exploded in a shower of gore.
She was a whirlwind of motion, her crimson dress a stark contrast to the carnage around her. Each strike was precise, deadly. She was a dancer, waltzing with death.
But even she could not hold back the tide forever. The creatures kept coming, their numbers seemingly endless. They would drown the city in their putrid flesh. Then Do-hyuk stepped forward with unwavering resolve. He raised his hand and the earth trembled violently. A wave of energy erupted from his body, slamming into the oncoming horde of enemies.
Creatures screamed as they were vaporized instantly. The ground cracked and buckled under the immense force of his power.
Do-hyuk was a god amongst men, his strength truly unmatched. He was their shield, their unwavering protector. As long as he stood, they would never fall. Mayhab laughed, a sound that chilled the soul. His laughter echoed through the darkness, a sinister melody that seemed to seep into the very bones of those who heard it.
"You think you can stop me, little god?" he boomed, his voice echoing across the ruined cityscape. The ruins seemed to amplify his words, making them resonate with an almost supernatural power.
Do-hyuk met his gaze, his expression unwavering. His eyes burned with a fierce determination, a silent promise that he would not back down.
"This city is mine," he stated, his voice cold steel. Each word was a declaration, a vow to protect what was his, and I will protect it. No matter the cost, no matter the sacrifice, he would stand as the city's guardian.
Their eyes locked, two titans clashing in a battle of wills. The intensity of their stare was palpable. A silent war waged through sheer force of will. The very air crackled with tension. It was as if the atmosphere itself was charged with their conflicting energies, ready to explode at any moment. This was more than a fight for survival. It was a test of strength, of resolve, of who would emerge victorious in this ultimate showdown. This was a fight for the soul of a city. The stakes were higher than ever, with the fate of countless lives hanging in the balance.
"Fire!" Do-hyuk roared, his voice filled with the promise of violence. The command was a rallying cry, a call to arms that reverberated through the battlefield.
The word was a detonation. It triggered a chain reaction, an explosion that sent shockwaves through the city. The final act of defiance against an uncaring god. In that moment, Do-hyuk stood firm, a beacon of resistance against the overwhelming force that sought to crush him.